Hey, what's up guys? Today's gonna be a short video. Basically what I want to show you is something that they did to Arcane Mages yesterday. They buffed a trait, which is this trait, which when you channel Evocation, your intellect is increased by a certain amount every 0.9 seconds, last 15 seconds. They buffed the amount of intellect you gain, and they buffed the duration. It was already one of the stronger Azerite traits, but now with this buff, I believe it might actually be one of the strongest, especially if you manage to stack it 3 times. So basically what this changes is, you would think like, okay, so you do your burst, you evocate, then you still, with 4 arcane power stacks, you put down a rune of power, and then you keep bursting. While you can do this, and this is gonna give good DPS, I found a way which basically gives you even higher burst DPS, especially on pool, which, you know, is over an entire fight, probably gonna give you more DPS. I still need to test it more. I think this is very promising, and I think this might actually become the way to play Arcane Mage, especially if you have these traits. But anyway, let's get into it. So normally, when you burst, you do pull timer, arcane blast, put your rune of power down, use your arcane power. The DPS might reset because, I don't know. Okay, we got a dagger of proc. So this is how you burst. For the last two, make sure you do this. So okay, we did 32k damage. Of course, this all depends on how lucky you are with procs and stuff. But basically, that's about how much burst we do as Arcane Mage. So basically, the way you burst with this talent, with this Azerite trait, which is Brainstorm, is instead of pulling with Rune of Power and Arcane Power, you evocate before the fight starts, and then you start bursting. You evocate before the fight starts because then you get the buff while you do your burst. Also, well, I'll show you actually in a second, something you have to pay attention to. But also what's really strong is unused trinkets. For example, this one, I use this before I start to evocate, and then while I do my burst, I have some extra haste. What this also changes is that after you're done bursting, you don't go to 0 mana because you don't have evocate. You just wait for your next evocate and you do it again. Of course, this trinket has a 2-minute cooldown, so I can't use it on the second one, but this is basically how it's gonna go. So we're gonna do a 15-second pull timer here. Of course, the DPS numbers might vary because, of course, if you get a lot of crits, it's going to be higher, and so on. Also, if you have one of these traits, it's way less noticeable than when you have 3 of them. Also, something I should note is make sure you track the buff, because it might end 1 second earlier than your Rune of Power and Arcane Power ends if you don't use Heroism, which means that you will have to keep track of it to make sure you use your Presence of Mind before it actually ends, and you can use the last 2 Arcane Blasts in the buff, in the intellect buff. We're gonna pull with Heroism, I think. Yeah, let's pull with Heroism. Let's see how much burst we can do. So at 8 seconds, we use the trinket and we start to evocate. Also, you need to try to not fuck this up because 5, 4, it's very easy to fuck 3, up.
2, 1.
Rune of Power, Arcane Power. That's burst. You can see the buff here. 8 seconds, 7 seconds. 3 seconds. Let's use our Presence of Mind. 41k burst. We could be doing higher. I don't think we got a lot of crits there. Oh yeah, and then we keep bursting, but I forgot because I was explaining. Basically, you can just put your Rune of Power down again instantly after. Use your mana until you get to about 25%, 30%, and then you start conserving. Yeah, right now here I wasted my Rune of Power for a big portion, mainly because I fucked it up because I was explaining. So basically, then you just do the normal rotation, and then after you did the normal rotation, you're gonna do the burst again. On this dummy, I won't really be able to show it. Well, I'm gonna show it, but I won't be able to show you the damage numbers like sustained, because after you don't attack the dummy for too long, it doesn't show up in details anymore because it thinks it's a new fight. Okay, now we should start bumping, losing all our mana so we can start evocating as soon as we can. Let's just evocate now. We kind of fucked up here. We should have waited a little bit. You want to wait with your evocates until you have your your power up. Okay, let's see. The buff is still 8 seconds, so actually it's still fine. Presence of Mind. And basically, this is what you do the entire fight. It's, of course, if you don't have more than one of these traits, the DPS is gonna vary a lot because everything is just crit related. If you get on a normal, if you don't do the Evocate strat and you have like 20% crit and you crit 3 times in a row, or you do the Evocate strat and you don't crit 3 times in a row, then of course the non-Evocate is gonna do more DPS. But I'm going to show you the DPS value differences between a normal Arcane Blast on 4 stacks and then an Arcane Blast with the Evocate. So let's see, one Arcane Blast, 28k crit, 15.7k. Oh, it's absorbing everything. Okay, but it's basically 15.7k from what I can see. Now we're gonna Arcane Blast after we did an Evocate. So it was 15.7k. Yeah. 14.7. Wait. 14.2. Wait, what? I'm gonna guess it's 14.2. Come on, it keeps critting now. What is this like? Okay, 14.2. Now let's do an Evocate. (17.3). So we go from 14.2 to 17.3 in damage, which you might be like, okay, that's not so much. But if you do a Rune of Power, which is already 40% spell power plus an arcane power, that's 100% more damage. That's 6k DPS difference on every single Arcane Blast. And if it crits, that's a 12k damage difference on every single cast of Arcane Blast. I haven't been able to sim it yet, but I think once you get more of these traits, this might actually be the best way of bursting, especially on some fights where ads need to die quickly, or if you just want to show off on pull, because I think in my guild while I was playing Arcane on a few bosses just to test this theory out, I was actually bursting for way more than anyone else. But anyway, thanks for watching, subscribe if you liked the video, and I hope to see you on the next one.